I want to invite my next guest up. This is great, super excited to have him here. Gautam Anand is here from YouTube. He's the Managing Director of Asia Pacific at YouTube, and we're going to sit here and chat about building the next generation of the creator economy. So Gautam, come on up.
How are you?
Dire Straits right there, I like that.
I know, I like it.
Yeah.
Back into my high school days.
Yeah, me too. I'm still a big Mark Knopfler fan, so
Yeah.
you can play his music for me anytime.
So wait, can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
Is this real or are we in the metaverse?
This is real. Look.
Wow.
I don't think I can, you sort of social distance here, but it's real. 641 days since we last did a VidCon in London, and we're back, and this is the first one. So
Yeah, it's amazing.
Thank you for being a guest on our first one.
Yeah, the last time it was Melbourne.
I know, I saw you, actually we met in Melbourne when we did our first one in Melbourne, 2017. It's the first time I ever did anything in Asia from an online video perspective, and it was amazing. You spoke and really opened my eyes up to the amazing content here, which, sure about that in a minute. I would like to start off just talking about, look, YouTube, you guys invented the creator economy, right? It's still the largest platform for monetizing creators, and it's so big. I mean, YouTube has become, I don't know, even since 2017, amazingly huge. But from your perspective on YouTube, how big is the creator economy today?
Yeah, so, I mean, obviously, the creator economy has become a huge buzzword, and it is very large and growing. But I think the beginnings of that was really in 2007, 14 years ago,
Yeah.
when YouTube first launched its partner program. And so since then, we've gotten out 2 million plus creators that are in our partner program monetizing with us. We've also started articulating the size of the revenue that is being generated. So we talked about how in the last 3 years, we paid out $30 billion.
I know, isn't that amazing? That was with a B, by the way,
Yeah.
$30 billion.
It amazes me that when we say something like that, I don't hear gasps, right?
Yeah, no, I gasp every time.
And this is just ads revenue, right? Ads revenue share. And that's growing, and we are starting to disclose our numbers more. So $7 billion last quarter that was generated. YouTube ads revenue, we share a majority of that back. So it's growing substantially. We're also expanding the partner program. And so, countries like Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal, just over the last year, we've made creators in those markets eligible to apply, and we're going to continue to expand. And so certainly, it's very large and growing. And we've also started articulating beyond just the money that creators are generating. What is the impact that we're having in markets? And so in the last few months, we've launched, actually Oxford Economics has launched these impact reports that talk about how in Korea, our GDP contribution to the Korean economy in 2020 was $1.4 billion. And we created 86,000 jobs. In Japan, and this is just a report that came out last week, our contribution was $2.1 billion. This is creators earning revenue, creating jobs, an industry.
It's editors, it's managers, it's
exactly.
all that stuff. It's the whole ecosystem.
And 75,000 jobs in that country, right?
Amazing.
This is funny, right? So 86,000 jobs in Korea. Samsung had said their aspiration was to create 70,000 new jobs in the next 3 years. So, it's great, and it's great to see that the ecosystem is growing. Obviously, I looked at the list of companies that are presenting here. So many new names, so much innovation happening. So it's all great.
Yeah, I think about, you were talking a little bit about senior team meeting you had recently, I think in Berlin, and do you guys ever just sit there and look at each other and think, oh my God, look what we built, how amazing is this? Or is it all looking forward rather than looking back?
No, because there's so much more to do.
Yeah.
I think that we have a tremendous foundation. We certainly want YouTube to be the home for creators, and at the same time, it's great that there's so many more options. The more people that come in, there's more innovation. It legitimizes the industry even that much more. So it's great, and we're doing so many new things, and we're learning. Sometimes we're leading, sometimes we're learning and coming from behind, so it's all good.
The thing I love about the community first media, which you guys definitely a big part of, is that anybody anywhere around the world can wake up one day and say, I want to be a creator and start a channel, They have no followers, no friends, no subscribers, no nothing. And over time, they can build up an audience. And yeah, in 2007, 2008, 2009, there weren't as many people out there competing for those eyeballs. There also weren't as many eyeballs. But it's really competitive on YouTube, but we still see people rising up every day, every week, every year. What do you think about YouTube as a place to get started now versus, say, 10 years ago?
So if you actually go back 10 years, we actually didn't even have a creator ecosystem in APAC. A lot of that, the US was very much a creator first. And then, on top of that, we built partnerships with music companies and traditional media companies. Here, we had those traditional media partnerships, but there wasn't much of a creator ecosystem. And a clear example was when we first started doing YouTube Fan Fest. And all of the creators on stage actually had come from other parts of the world, a lot of them from, US and European creators. And now those events are, the entire roster is full of local creators that are thriving. Just to give you an example, in India today, we've got 4,000 creator channels with over 1 million subscribers. And so that ecosystem has grown and continues to grow. And we track these things. We track creators getting started, metrics like creators making it, and all of those numbers are actually year-over-year growth rates are really, really very, very healthy. Now, I also think that we've made creation a little easier, starting with TikTok and short-form video, addressing mobile-first, mobile-only audiences. That, there was a time where they would have found it harder to create for YouTube because we hadn't necessarily built those tools for them. But I'm really excited about the launch of YouTube Shorts, which is bringing that fun, easy creation on the phone to our billions of users now, right? And because of that, we've actually seen a lot of people starting off with Shorts and getting tremendous traction very, very fast. And so many, many examples of people starting with Shorts, succeeding with that format, and within 6 months having 1 million, 2 million subscribers. And so that product, still very early days for us, and even our creation tools, we're continuing to make them more and more robust. But the results are still amazing. I think we had 3.5 billion daily views for Shorts in December. In July, when we updated that stat, it was already up to 15 billion. Nice. That's 4x growth. And I think that there's so much more for us to do there. And a lot of that innovation is actually coming from this part of the world. Yeah. So some of the markets where we see the largest number of Shorts users and Shorts creation are markets like India, Indonesia, Pakistan, because those are really truly mobile-first, mobile-only countries. And so it's opening up an entire universe of new creators that are able to not just express themselves on YouTube, but on other platforms as well.
Now with Shorts, let's lean into that a little bit. Is the expectation is that people will grow on Shorts and then migrate to, I don't know, it's not called Longs, but whatever you call the main thing. Do you think that that's a path that you expect some of your creators to go down, or Shorts is a place where you can stay on Shorts and build great success and never really end up on the main, I don't know, what do you call it? The main what? Feed, the main place?
The main app, yeah.
The main, I don't know, I don't even know what the name is. But anyway, tell me about how you see that going.
So I think you're gonna have a combination of, there will be people that excel at Shorts, and that's what they will continue doing, and they'll find success. And they'll generate revenue as well. So, we've announced a 100 million Shorts fund. We wanted to make sure that creators understood that when they put in time to create this new format, that over time we're gonna figure out how to monetize that as well. I think commerce will get integrated into Shorts as well. So certainly by itself, it potentially will be sustainable. Some will do a combination of both, and we're already seeing some of that where people are migrating. And it's funny, in a lot of instances when we actually talk to very, very successful Shorts creators, and this is folks that we're trying to get and create on YouTube, they actually say YouTube was the aspiration.
Yeah, right.
But they weren't able to do it because we hadn't provided them with the tools to be able to create the longer form VOD content that succeeds on YouTube. And so now it's an avenue for them to get started with Shorts, get discovered, and then potentially do VOD. And we'll see the same thing happening with long-form creators who are, lots of them are actually now also using shorts to stay in the conversation and create programming in between the long-form programming that they do. So I think there'll be a combination of that.
Yeah, it's been interesting that Shorts was very much of a greenfield, as it were, for a lot of creators to go into because there weren't as many people there. You guys were obviously giving it a lot of attention, and it was a place to grow where there wasn't a lot of competition, but still the ability to move back and forth, I think, has been really interesting. The tools, and again, you guys do a great job building tools, but clearly that was something where you needed to improve, and you did, which is great. I love the Shorts product, and I think a lot more innovation, I think, that will go on there.
I think the formats, I'm very excited, and we're already seeing some of that, which is, obviously there are certain formats that have succeeded on TikTok and lots of their challenges. But I think we're going to see, shortening of existing YouTube formats, like snippets of financial advice, comedians and jokes and one-liner. You can adapt a lot of the longer form formats to shorts, and you'll see a lot of that innovation happening from existing YouTube creators because they've been doing things and they'll adapt that format to a new format. And so I'm very excited. I think this is just the beginning.
Yeah, it's funny, for those of us who've been at YouTube for, and following it and building on it for 15 and plus years, it was so short form early on, right? I mean, back in 2007, 2008, it was all about 2-3 minute videos, and over time it got longer and longer.
Yeah.
And it's so great that there's now a place where you can have that innovation around shorter stuff. I remember talking to David Dobrik, 2019, I think, and he was like, yeah, I'm not gonna do over 4 minutes, period, even though it seems like everybody's going to 15 or 20 minutes. But now you have the ability, if you want to do short form, you can do it here. If you want to do vertical, if you want to go here, I think it's great. One of the things I think is really interesting that we've seen, and this is a revelation I had at 2019 at VidCon, was any creator over a certain size really becoming a direct-to-consumer brand. That they were really being able to go DTC and build, whether it was merch, and merch has been around for a long time, beauty brands and other things. How do you think about creators as DTC brands, and how do you think about supporting that?
So absolutely. I think creators are the next generation media companies, and a lot of them, we talked about the fact that creators already are employing larger teams and doing a lot more. So, ads is the foundation. Mm-hmm. We've already seen creators be very successful with e-commerce. We've built, beyond ads and our subscription offering, obviously we've provided now 10 different ways for creators to monetize, and a lot of it's through direct fan engagement, so paid digital goods, memberships. So yeah, I mean, and brand deals is a big part of that. So they are.
Yeah, they are, right.
I mean, look, what was it? I was just reading a couple of weeks ago that the Lipstick Brother, who is one of the most successful sellers of beauty products in China, sold $2 billion worth of beauty products in a day. Wow. So, I mean, that's I mean, just the scale of that is phenomenal, and and we're excited about what we're doing with shopping. We're just starting. We've run a few pilots just recently. First one in Korea with a creator called Picky Eater, a mukbang creator, and she was very successful. We had 16,000 people on the live stream concurrently at the same time, and she sold out all the products that she had, all the merch she had available within 45 minutes. So a lot of this is happening, right? Commerce, brand collaborations, and multiple ways for a creator to actually generate revenue.
Yeah, there's a couple of them that I'd love to talk about, but I would like to lean in a little bit on shopping because, I live in the US. I actually live 5 miles from YouTube headquarters. And live shopping is a thing that's sort of gradually happening in the US, but it seems like it's everywhere, and Asia, it's really started here. How do you see that developing on YouTube, and how do you see yourselves leaning into it, maybe starting here and then rolling out around the rest of the world?
Yeah, so I think that the reality is that a lot of the trends of the future are going to be born here in APAC. Yeah. It was very true that the US was the biggest internet market. That's where a lot of the startup activity was happening, and that's where the innovation came from. But now, so much of that, short form video and ByteDance and TikTok is a great example of that, starting in China. Yeah. Live video commerce is another example of that. And I think that you're going to see a lot more of that taking root just right here in this region and then becoming global phenomenon. We're seeing some of that with virtual YouTubers, which started off in Japan and is now scaling. So certainly a lot more of that innovation is going to come from right here. And we're excited. I think I talked about the success of Shorts, and it's rooted in a lot of our markets here. And we think that live commerce, while we're experimenting in the US, and we've done a whole live shopping week where we had Gordon Ramsay and a few Addison Rae and a few other creators take part in that. The success of the first one that we did in Korea is very encouraging, and we've got a whole bunch lined up, and we're just getting started. And next year, I think there's going to be a lot more of our focus will go into commerce and shopping. And I think a lot of the best practices and use cases are going to come from right here.
Yeah, I agree. A couple of other areas I'd love to lean in on. Channel memberships. Talk a little bit about that and what that's doing for creators.
Yeah, so look, I think ads is massive. We talked about the numbers.
Of course.
We've then talked about also creating a subscriptions revenue stream, and YouTube Premium as a product is doing extremely well. We announced that that's crossed 50 million paid subscribers. And so, that's creating like what we call the twin engines of monetization for our creators. And even during COVID, when a lot of these markets had a slowdown in ad spending, the subscriptions revenue was a constant. And so it's really, really positive, where if you have ups and downs on ad revenue, the subscription revenue, especially as we grow that subscriber base, will continue to be a secure source of revenue for folks. And then on top of that, we built all of these alternative monetization products. So there's 10 different ways of monetizing. Memberships is one of those. We've had, I think in 2020, over 10 million people bought for the first time a PDG, super chat, super stickers, or a membership. And while ads and subscriptions will be the majority of the revenue, I think this over time will become a more and more substantial revenue stream for a lot of our creators. And in some instances, there are some creators that create content that may not necessarily be very conducive to generating revenue from ads. They're actually generating majority of their revenue through a product like memberships. Or we have creators who, VTubers as an example, they generate a majority of their revenue on live streams through Super Chat, more so than they do with advertising. And so it depends on categories and genres of creators. And in some instances, these alternate monetization methods are actually more meaningful than ads. Yeah, they're primary.
Yeah, when I talk to creators, I try and explain it, and I talk about portfolio theory. When you're building your portfolio, is you want some stocks that'll do this, and some stocks will do this, and some here, and it's about the beta, and you want to level it out. And I think the same thing. It's the same sort of concept that creators need to think about when they think about monetization. There's an arbitrage thing where you're not always going to get this, but if this goes down, this might stay or go up. Yep. One of the other ones, you mentioned Super Chat. Talk about Super Chat for a minute. How's that doing? And is that something that feels like it's happening more in Asia than other parts of the world, or is it more of a global thing?
Super Chat is a great way for any creator to monetize their live stream. It's really meant for live audiences and that participation and the engagement within that. So I think APAC is leading. We are, as a region, actually getting the most amount of traction with these products, because it's also the user behavior has existed. Paid digital goods have been around in Korea for 15 years, right? And in Japan for many, many years as well. And so we didn't have to seed the user behavior, and so the user behavior is already there. And now they've got an ability to directly support their creators. VTubers as an example, I think out of the top 10 Super Chat generating channels globally, 6 of them are actually virtual YouTubers. So that, for some reason, that fandom within that community is really, really strong, and that's it manifests in fans supporting these creators while they're live streaming. And again, within gaming, so gaming is another category where Super Chat works extremely well.
Yeah, the VTuber thing I think is fascinating. I've been following, not necessarily a strong YouTube VTuber, but called Code Miko, now building the Mikoverse, and is taking what she's done with the motion capture suit and is going to start building a company to make those tools available to other people, which I think is just going to, I think that's really going to, may not be what she builds, but the idea that you can do that and make it a turnkey thing to be able to be a VTuber without all that stuff, I think it's going to be amazing. And,
I
again,
think
leading here first.
Yeah. So the short form video creation was making it easy, fun on mobile. This is going to be about taking stuff that today suits cost thousands of dollars, and it's a complicated setup. I think that there's really interesting technology that is coming around that will democratize some of this as well. And so you'll see a lot more of avatars, and people, and culturally too. I think it'll open up another avenue of creation, because there are still folks that are not as comfortable being in front of a camera, and so now this will create another avenue where, in the same way, short form video opened up creation for millions of people. This will potentially open up creation for another large group.
Yeah, we talked about this earlier, but I really want to stream as a dog. So let's see when that happens. I don't need to be myself. I'm just going to be a dog. Let's lean in a little bit on the creators and creator economy in Asia Pacific. And as I was talking about Melbourne back in 2017, first time my real introduction into Asia Pacific and creators, and you came on and showed off some creators. One of them was this Apple pineapple pen one that I was like, I still laugh when I watch it. It was amazing and so different from what I've seen. But how does the creator economy here compare to the rest of the world? And what are the things you think that happen here that maybe the creators lead in, outside of YouTubing and other things we already talked about, that may find their way to the rest of the world?
We've touched upon some of that as well. I think the virtual VTubers, that is, certainly started off in Japan. Some of those channels are now starting to create English programming, and that's traveling. We see a lot of local going global. YouTube's obviously a fantastic platform. We have over 2 billion people logging in. And so the ability for anyone, anywhere, to be able to, with some passion and talent, to be able to reach those audiences. So you'll see a lot more proliferation, I think, of content from this part of the world. There was a panel talking about how well Korean content has traveled, and I think you'll see a lot more of that. And then, I think new trends. So I think a lot of the innovation in, how shorts evolves and the formats will certainly happen here, because this is where you've got like the center of gravity when it comes to short form creation happening. And then commerce, I think, is another area that I'm really excited about, and how that develops over time, especially around the live
side. You remind me of something, and I'm not sure if this is something that started in Asia and moved around the world, or maybe it just has a place, but I was diving into Korean content, trying to figure out, what do people in Korea really watch? And I was struck by the amazing ASMR content. And now I've seen ASMR around the world, but I'm not sure if that was an Asian invention or if it's just something that happens to be really big in Korea. But is that another area where something that really maybe start here and move around the world, or is it just one of those things that just spreads because it's interesting?
I think now that you have the ability to effectively distribute content, not just through YouTube, but so many other platforms, you're going to see many, many more examples, like that. And so I think that there's going to be new content formats, and it'll spread.
So we've got some of the guys from NAS Academy up here doing some short workshops and other things. And I saw Nusayr, who started NAS Academy, speak at Web Summit a month ago in Lisbon. And he said something that I thought was really good, which I've been repeating, and I'm trying to attribute to him, so I'm going to. But he said to creators, look, 80% of the world doesn't speak English. If you make your content in English, you're only reaching 20% of your potential market. Really encourage people to think about, how do I translate? How do I subtitle? How do I reach the rest of it? Any thoughts and ideas on that side, and what you guys are thinking about to try and help creators who may do something in Korean to get it to the rest of the world, or something in English to the rest of the world? How are you thinking about that world?
So I think translation obviously is one way to do it. I do think that there are certain formats that are universally appealing, right? And so historically, gaming content has been like that. And we've got tremendous examples of, I'll give you one. Li Siqi is a Chinese creator who, from rural Sichuan. We don't have YouTube in China. She is today got over 15 million subscribers on her YouTube channel. She basically shoots video of her cooking, crafts, her lifestyle, and she doesn't speak in those videos. And they get millions of views, and so it's fascinating, right? When you think about that and the ease with which some of that travels. And there's so many examples of that genre, right? Rural channels from village in Pakistan or Tamil Nadu that are getting 10 million, 15 million subscribers because people are fascinated.
Right.
They're exposing something that people aren't able to experience, especially right now when nobody's able to travel. And so I think it's really amazing. I think that's already happening, right? Where content is not just local. Like content is traveling from remote corners of the world to everyone all across the world.
Yeah, when my son was growing up, we watched a lot of Miyazaki movies and loved Miyazaki, and particularly Totoro. And we have been, one of the rat holes we went down to YouTube at one point was, let's find all this sort of rural Japan, that's sort of that background of my cousin Totoro, or my Totoro. And to your example, it gave us an ability to go somewhere we couldn't go to otherwise. So fascinating. The last 2 years have been tough on all of us, right, with COVID and everything else. How do you think the creator economy has changed here in Asia over the last 2 years? And what do you think it'll be like as we come out of COVID?
So, obviously COVID, with everyone being at home, we saw, a lot of people staying at home meant a lot more consumption for us. So that was good because it helped us increase our reach, more people logging on, but they were adapting to the environment, right? And so we saw a lot of people searching for, workouts at home, how to cut my hair, how to bake,
right.
Kids being at home. We saw a lot of learning content being consumed. Obviously parents and kids at home and a lot of schools were relying on YouTube as well. People not being able to have graduation ceremonies or religious ceremonies. We had the largest iftar during Ramadan on YouTube. And then mental health, I think, as a topic became very, very relevant as well. So, the user side obviously evolved. Like I said, we actually did see a lot of traction. And that was good for our creators because that just meant more content was being consumed on YouTube. And while it was probably much, much harder to be able to shoot and have a regular programming schedule, we continue to see creators grow and thrive. And while it was challenging, and that's the reason why we actually focus a lot more on the mental health aspects of it, both providing resources through videos, but also workshops, et cetera, so that we were letting them know that we were there for them. We knew it wasn't easy. But yeah, so for us, the changes we noticed were more on the consumption side. The creators obviously continue to do what they were doing and continue to grow.
Yeah, one of the things, look, VidCon started because of the communities that we're building up around Hank and John Green and other early YouTubers, and they wanted to get that together in real life. And every VidCon I go to, where the fan side is there, I'm always amazed by the powerful communities. I shouldn't be, but I still am, over and over again, watching a meet and greet and seeing the fans who are just almost in tears because they're meeting their creator for the first time. And I think it's an under-talked about aspect of YouTube. And it's something that during the lockdown, we did this at VidCon. I saw it so much in other places where the virtual communities were all they had. And in many ways, that creator sat at the center of the community. It wasn't all about them. It's about the people that were also fans. And I think leaning into that community, I think it really helped. And I love this, talking about on the mental health side and the other things there. I think you are absolutely right that is such an important aspect of it.
And I was just going back to the community piece. I was telling somebody who was attending VidCon for the first time as I walked in. I saw them outside, and I was just saying how my first VidCon in Anaheim. It's just incredible when you witness that energy, right? With 20,000, 30,000 fans in that one place, and certainly for us, we replicated some of that through FanFest, and we were able to show. And those events went from a few hundred people to plus 10,000 people, right? And it is true that connection is extremely genuine, extremely powerful, extremely real.
Yeah, and that to me, all these other great things, the creator economy that you have done and built, that to me is the thing that seems most sustainable and most powerful is the way it connects people together around shared love of a creator, love of a type of content, and the communities we can build of people around the world. You don't have to be next door to be somebody that you're part of a community. Couple of quick questions before we go. What part of the world, maybe Asia, maybe elsewhere, is a real hotbed of creativity that's emerging that maybe we don't know about that we should pay attention to more?
Look, there's creativity everywhere.
I know. That's what's so awesome, right?
It is, and we see that, like the growth of our creator ecosystem and the partner program. It is truly universal, and so it's hard. We talked about how Shorts is being embraced. It's bringing entire new type of creator, right? That is giving them the ability to be able to express themselves. And so a lot of that will come from right here because we're just expanding the pool so dramatically of people who have a talent, but previously found it hard to be able to express themselves and now are able to do that in a fun, easy way. And so, we see and more people coming online. Pakistan's a great example of a country where we're starting to see a lot more people come online. That's why it's already one of the leading markets where we're seeing lots of shorts activity happening for us. So there's hotbeds everywhere. And yeah, it's.
Well, it's interesting. You said that you started a partner program in Sri Lanka, and after 2019 VidCon here, actually went to Sri Lanka. And our producer over there, Nipuna, who deserves a round of applause for producing this, is from Sri Lanka and gave me all these tips. Now I'm going to have to lean into the creators that you're starting to bring in. All right, one quick question before we go. Give us a surprise in 2022. What's a secret or surprise? Something's going to happen that we should be excited about.
I think. To me, Shorts, we're already on our way, and I think we're going to continue to improve that product and allow more people to participate. I'm really excited about shopping on YouTube. When we poll people, we know people are coming to YouTube to research products. I think 80+% of our audience says that they would love to have the ability to interact and with content, learn about products and buy them right on YouTube. And so we're going to do a lot more there. I talked about the experiments we've just kicked off, but certainly that's an area that I'm really looking forward to. And it's just the beginning, but I think it's going to be very, very exciting.
All right, Shorts and shopping. You heard it here. Gautam Anand, right. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks,
really
everyone.
Appreciate it. Round of applause. YouTube began the creator economy and is still the leader. So thank you.
Thank
See you
you
later. Thanks for coming.